fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going around the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taking Anderson! Anderson's up to
Oh my god! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go!
Oh no!
That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
This is your chance to get behind the wheel. The opportunity to race just like the pros. From the grassroots levels, where we all got our start, to the most popular race cars on the planet. From the fairgrounds of Nashville to the high banks of Daytona, to tracks that will never be forgotten. Realistic driving, intense competition, all from the comfort of your own home. This is the ultimate motorsports simulation. This is iRacing. This is the world's premier online racing simulation. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat from your home computer with the most realistic online motorsports experience you'll find anywhere. Race virtually in the world's biggest events with officially licensed series, cars, and tracks. From the high banks of Daytona to the blistering speeds of Indianapolis, the dirt of Eldora to the world's most legendary road courses. It's all here, and with more than 180,000 people just like you already driving, you'll always have someone to race. Ready to get behind the wheel? Sign up at iRacing.com to get started.
Welcome one, welcome all to SimSpeed TV. It's time once again for round 11 of the AOG Porsche Cup, the 6th season of this championship, which is going for the entire year. It's been fantastic so far this season with some brilliant racing, but now we head on into the European section of this championship with a race at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. We're racing the historic layout in the sprint format tonight, which means we are going to have a short race and then a slightly longer race with a little bit of reverse grid shenanigans as well as a potential mandatory pit stop. To bring it to you all live here on SimSpeed TV is myself, Reese Gardner, with Nick Skariev in the commentary box with me. As per usual, Nick, we got a nice big field here tonight, round about 28 cars at this historic layout of the Circuit de Catalunya, Formula One circuit since the early 90s, and I think not many would disagree with me when I say this is probably the layout that's the most favourite among sim racers, with a nice flowing final sector.
Yeah, absolutely, Reese. What a combination. I always love the sprint feature formats. Love Barcelona too. As you were saying, yeah, big circuit, big sweeping, not really too many slow zones. It's just more that elf corner there, the big chicane at the end of the straight. But yeah, nice big hole in the straight all the way from New Holland corner up to elf. Really open up these flat six engines.
Indeed. A very nice long straight, which should provide some big slipstreaming opportunities, but a very fast and flowing first sector. That third turn at Renault will definitely do a number on the left front tyres, so we'll have to wait and see how the drivers sort themselves out here tonight. It's definitely going to be a difficult one for many of the drivers out there. As we take a look at the championship standings as things are coming out of round 10, Bo Albert leading by 538 points over Job Stewart. Matt Bowler not too far behind Job though, and definitely can be said that Matthew Bowler has had a brilliant run as of late, with Sebastian Flock not far off either. Looking though at the drivers in the session, it seems that Bo Albert is in the server, but I'm not seeing much trace of the likes of Job Stewart. Matthew Bowler, though, is indeed in the session. But looking down at the Pro-Am standings next, Simon Mazzomo and Tyson Broad still continuing to fight it out there at the front of that category.
Yeah, it's been excellent seeing them trade blows on the track. Great to see as well Nicholas Garage, not only our AM leader as well, but in that 10th position as well. So doing an excellent job there. Really shows how great his consistency has been.
Yeah, Nicholas Garriott has, I think, been one of the star competitors of this series as of this year. It's truly been a magnificent run from Nicholas, just getting those points wherever he possibly can. Just being in 10th overall is definitely an achievement in and of itself. But check out the 050 of Rob Crisdale, one of many drivers who are turning up to this series for the first time. We've had plenty of renewed interest in this series, and Crisdale currently sitting in third, only 0.02 of a second behind Lachlan Capel as we approach the first third of the qualifying session being done. Matthew Kidd, another one of the drivers that has decided to throw his hat into the ring here in the number 47 and racing in the AM category in the number 47 car. Currently 12th place of the 13 drivers who have set times so far. Of course, it is split qualifying here, so we have the AM field and half of the Pro-Am field out to start off the session. Then in the final half of the session, it is going to be the other half of the Pro-Ams along with the Pro Class drivers. Dan Stevens for Middle Finger Racing, also a series debut here at Catalunya, making his way into that final sector. And if we can stay on board with him here, Nick, we'll get a demonstration of that beautiful flowing final sector and how difficult those last two turns are.
I thought you were actually about to say that beautiful livery. It's, yeah, so common to see there with the Middle Finger Racing with that purple livery that we've seen Daniel Stevens being so strong in so many of the leagues and series that we've seen as well. Super strong in the majors as well, so really shows his versatility. Probably one of the most versatile drivers, I'd have to say, in Australia, if not in the Oceania area. He's not set a time as of yet, though. He is currently sitting around that 9th place, almost about 2 seconds from that leading pacer at the front.
Yeah, not quite getting to the pace that he has set so far on a low 1 minute 45. Aaron Shields, though, in the number 16, looking to improve on a top 4. He's currently 9/10 off the pace set by Hayden Sell, 1 minute 48.9. Looks like that's an outlap there for the BPR driver. And BPR, another one of those teams that has been in and around the AusNZ community for a few years now. Good to see them out here in the AOG Porsche Cup, as well as David Leslie for After Dark Sim Racing in the 666. We've seen David in the Majors Series in the past this year, in the Year of Our Lord 2022. Coming into the final sector now, this hairpin is going to be one of the prime overtaking opportunities, especially if you overshoot it a little like Leslie has seemed to have done. It's very easy to overshoot the apex of that corner, but this final sector, it really is all about trying to maintain that mid-corner speed, and it definitely shows that slow in, fast out is the way to go.
Yeah, you can just see how much feeding the power in. It's these big sweeping corners. A lot of these are almost a hidden double apex, so you often see many drivers taking many different lines in there. He's more or less aborted it. He's going to come to a
He's
stop.
Improved it. Improved to 9th.
Yeah, improved to 9th. Back to the pit, so for himself. Kyle Booth, though, out there at the moment, so maybe in the bit of the shadows of his teammate Nicholas Garrich there at the moment. That has always been consistent, always been in the mix too, so great work there by Kyle Booth. He's looking to get at least a time up on the board here now.
Yep, currently in 5th and working himself very nicely there in the number 110, but it looks like that lap has been abandoned. He's not too happy with how the car felt coming out of that hairpin, I would gather. Towards the start of the lap, making his way through turn 3 is Hayden Sell, who's now on what should be his final hot lap. The 2-minute warning has already sounded for Group 1, and very shortly we should see the checkered flag come out for this group here, as Adrian Vlok makes his way to the end of the lap now. Mr. Vlok in the 740, currently in 8th place. He's got to be careful here with 1.6 seconds to the front of the field, but a 1 minute 44 is what he's going to set. That is a big improvement there for Vlok. Gets past Grant Matterford to move up into 7th place. Very nicely done indeed. Speaking of Matterford, he's about to come to the end of the lap himself, throwing it into the final corner here. Got to be careful not to run too far beyond the sawtooth curbs. Hopefully that lap counts for him, but it's going to be a 1 minute 45.2. Not an improvement for the Pulse Racing Team 779. He's going to stay there in 8th place unless Javin Wood can do anything about it. Wood, one of the drivers in the AM class that has certainly had a good run of things this year. Pulse Racing Team certainly throwing their hopes behind him as he runs maybe just a little bit wide there in the final corner. We'll see if this can work out to an improvement on a 45.7, and it will be up to a 45.3, but unfortunately it doesn't net him any positions. It brings him to within half a tenth of Daniel Stevens. Meanwhile, Aaron Shields keeping it nice and tight through the final corner, doesn't overshoot the curb. Does this lap count for the number 16? Can he improve? 43 is what is going to be set there for Aaron Shields, and moves up to 2nd in the process. Brilliant stuff. It's clear that Hayden Sell is the pace setter so far, but what a great improvement there by Shields.
Yeah, absolutely. So great work there by Shields, by Snell, by the whole field there. You can see we are probably expecting it to be more of a bit of a pro group thing to sit in and try and pull that draft, but we do have the results here now, Reese.
So, 6.5 tenths ahead of the rest of the field is Hayden Sell. Aaron Shields moves into 2nd. It's Capel and Crisdale, your top 4. Kyle Booth, though, claiming the AM class pole position over his teammate and championship leader Nicholas Garriich. Adrian Vlok, Grant Matterford, David Leslie and Dan Stevens round out the top 10. Mr. Stevens in the AM class as well. Wood Edwards, Kidd, and Josh Maynard round out the 14 cars that have set times so far. Now we take a very short break in the action for the second group to come out in qualifying as we refresh ourselves with regards to the format. We got a 20-minute race 1 coming up, and there's not going to be a pit stop in the first race, but we expect the drivers will have to make a stop in the second race for fuel. There is a cap to the fuel tank in this series with this format, so we should expect the drivers to maybe take a very short stop, maybe a splash and dash for some fuel there in the 35-minute race too, Nick.
Yeah, absolutely. So such a cool format, I think. Very lucky in this series to have a couple of sprints. We've got this format here that we've got now, as well as the endurance. So it's good to have a bit of a mix, keeps all the drivers on their toes. So seeing, of course, the Logitech Altus cars there, Bo Albert out in front there, notably with his blue wheels. With we believe that is Sam Blacklock there, actually not in behind, so he's actually a few cars down. Usually we've seen these two work together, but you'd have to say for a draft track, working together is probably going to be key and just net you at least a couple of extra tenths.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, Altus are not going to be able to coordinate a draft as of yet. They're probably just going to use this first part of the session to get some banker times in, at least get a lap on the board. As Robbie Gibbs makes his way around behind Bo Albert, he's likely to get at least a small whisper of a draft from the championship leader. Gibbs, of course, a winner this season as well. He certainly worked his way up to the top as we check out Matt Bowler, who is surely going to take second in the championship from Job Stewart this round if he can get himself a good pair of finishes tonight. Joining up with Evolution Racing Team is Matthew Bowler, and certainly an excellent choice there for ERT to get him on board. He's definitely shown that he has the pace to compete up the top here, but the first laps have started now for this second group of qualifying. We've got the drivers on screen, plus Ryan Jones, Simon Mazzomo, Rob Carmichael, Dylan Shepherd, Reese Cohen, Zach Kerr. Bo Albert, though, has a completely clear track ahead of him. He's not going to be getting any benefit here. Turns in smoothly. He'll had to have a couple of goes at that and a bit of oversteer on the exit as well. Maybe not quite to his liking at the moment is this lap. He's going to have to be careful through this chicane. Don't take too much of the curb on either side. The car really bounces over that yellow anti-cut curb.
Yeah, absolutely. It brings back so many memories here at Barcelona. Oh, a little bit of opposite lock there coming on. It just looks like he must be running a really, really hard suspension. You can see how much that car is really squirming around there, keeps it really tight in there. You can see almost a double apex, almost clips the curb coming out of it. That's exactly what you want to do there. And then this one here, super, super tight there. Open it up. Oh, it's almost completely crossed up coming out of that. Not going to be a really fast time, but definitely a spectacular one, Reese.
Yeah, wow. Albert probably having a couple issues with the rear end there as he comes across the line to set his first lap, 43.499. That's good enough for second behind Hayden Sell, but you can see that it was not quite to Albert's liking because Robbie Gibbs has already gone faster behind him. It looks like Sam Blacklock not able to get a time in on that lap. It looks like the lap was invalidated, but more times coming in. Reese Cohen to 4th, Rob Carmichael to 5th. Tyson Broad puts himself into 11th. Zach Kerr puts himself into 9th. Cameron Dance moves up to P6. And Joshua Van Treek goes 17th fastest. So that was a good opening stanza of laps there, but currently still looks like Hayden Sell is the man on top. But have a look at how close Gibbs got.
Yeah, Sell and Gibbs there putting almost identical times in there. So are expecting though, yeah, as you can see there, just by Bo Albert, he's actually decided to pull off the track there. So definitely not feeling that comfortable at the moment here with the track setup with the suspension. So possibly looking maybe at maybe a little bit softer, maybe a little bit more body roll or something. You could tell usually these tyres usually take a couple of laps to get in. So we'll expect to see Hayden Sell's time If you slash down here, you can just see, oh, such an awesome camera angle, that one. And then you can see almost a blind apex, because it is a little bit of a gradual hill here up the back here of Catalunya.
Widen out the exit to the penultimate corner as much as you can. Try and not go over the yellow sausage curb on the entry there, because it'll definitely unsettle you. And Gibbs will come across the line here to set a 1 minute 43.1, and that is provisional pole for the 888 of Robert Gibbs. And that 2-lap run is over for Bowler and Blacklock as well. Blacklock getting into third. He'll indeed be very happy with that one. But Blacklock already back out onto the circuit. Bowler going out for a second run too. And Bo Albert out there on track as well, just trying his best to get things done, as is Dylan Shepherd, who was the only driver other than Corey McFarlane to have not set a time so far. Shepherd, a driver who dropped into the championship a few rounds ago, and that's big oversteer out of the final corner. That time will not be the one he wants there. In fact, it won't even count for Dylan Shepherd. Big off track on the exit of the final corner, but we know that Shepherd definitely has the pace to compete well in this championship, as Carmichael now comes to the end of the lap. You can use a lot of the curb beyond the circuit there, but of course you do have to keep to the right of that yellow curb on the entry to the final corner. So Carmichael will begin another lap here, try to improve on his position in the top 10.
Yeah, absolutely. We do see Carmichael there. Definitely see him in a few of the leagues as well. Quite consistent. Reese Cohen as well there, running the, almost you could call it the privateer livery, running the very white livery there as well. So he's at a 1:43.7. So doing quite well there to be in that top 10. He's just in front of Simon Zomo by about 0.04 of a second. So those two. Oh, and then Carmichael there, another 400s as well. So very, very tight in the midfield here at the moment.
Yeah, does look that way for the second half of the top 10. As a 43.4 there for Reese Cohen puts him into 5th place. And that's going to be about a 10th behind Matthew Bowler, and a few hundredths faster than Bo Albert, who is once again going on another outlap here. I think he's actually doing a double outlap as Albert to try and get his tyres into the right window. Albert is the favourite for pole, so we'll have to keep an eye on him. But for now, Simon Mazzomo catches the curb at the top of the hill, goes for a spin down the old part of the circuit. The chicane that used to be used by Formula One and was used by the DTM when they used the national layout of Barcelona when they visited that circuit. Ryan Jones down in 19th at the moment, 1.5 seconds off the pace. Can this be an improvement for him? It doesn't look like it. In the lap in the 1 minute 50s, might be an outlap there for Ryan Jones as he tries his best to get things going. Just up ahead of Jones, Albert has entered the first corner. But we will take a look at a replay here of what happened to the 124. And, oh dear, that is another case of catching the curb there. And Simon Mazzomo spinning in sympathy. So Carmichael and Mazzomo both having issues so far. But Bo Albert now. I'm going to have to, I really want to take a look at Albert's lap, but we're going to check Sam Blacklock as we come to the final couple of corners here. Now, this is going to be interesting here for Sam Blacklock because he's 2/10 off the pace set by Robert Gibbs. Is he going to improve on this lap? It's a 43.257 there for Blacklock. It is an improvement. It only puts him 1,000th behind Hayden Sell. Zach Kerr goes to 7th spot. In the meantime, as we check back to Bo Albert, he's going into the final sector now, and this lap is looking pretty good for the 06. Got to keep it tight here on the exit, try and widen up the entry to the right-hander across the top of the hill as much as possible. Albert firing it towards the inside. He's definitely gone for a very pointy setup in this thing. working the wheel all the way through those long corners, taking a lot of curb out of the penultimate corner, and he'll be hoping that gains him at least a few hundredths worth of time. And big oversteer on the exit of the final corner. Was that an off track for Bo Albert? I wonder. 43.0. That lap counted. And he moves into provisional pole, Nick. That was, again, quite spectacular, but I don't think Albert is looking very comfortable on that thing.
Yeah, Bo Albert, I think he's definitely showing just the level that he's at. So you can see he can have just spectacular sides like that, still catch it, and then still just being able to take pole. So such a spectacular drive here at the moment from him. So we are seeing actually Reece Cohen, though, possibly might be a little bit quicker there. He's coming around the back part of the circuit, so currently in 6th place. Really holding strong there, just in front of Cameron Dance at the moment. Or you can just see how much that car squirms, but we are going to cut to an external shot here of Bo Albert coming onto that straight.
Watch this. This is fantastic. Rear end gets away from him ever so slightly. And oh my goodness, he was so close to getting the off track. Just avoiding the gravel. That's brilliant car control, Nick.
I think he had about maybe 10 mil in that. I reckon if it was 10 mil any further to the left, that actually would have flagged as an off track. So very lucky, but you never know. Maybe he meant to do that.
Yeah. Well, he's taken the maximum, hasn't he? As Reece Cohen comes to the end of the lap. Been a pretty good qualifying session for Reece so far in the 194. It's going to be a 1 minute 45.2 on that lap, though. Not going to be an improvement this time around for the BPR driver. Meanwhile, Ryan Jones trying his best doggedly to improve on what is currently 20th place. Down to the 1 minute 40s now as he comes out of the final corner. And it's a 1 minute 44.66 there for Ryan Jones. It is an improvement by 200ths, but it does not net him any positions.
Yeah, still not too bad there for Ryan Jones. It's definitely in a hard position there. He's not with a team on this one, so quite often having to set the car himself up there. So still quite a consistent racer, so we usually see him shuffle his way out through the front there. We do have Robbie Gibbs out on track here at the moment. 143.466 is not an improvement though, so was only about 0.3 off his fastest, so still showing a lot of consistent speed, but just not fast enough there to break the Altus 1-2 in front of him.
Yeah, it is indeed an Altus 1-2 at the front of the field. Bo Albert, it looks like, is done with the qualifying session. He's actually doing some practice starts as Corey McFarlane makes his way out of the hairpin. And his first lap is now on the board, 1 minute 44.79, and that's currently good enough for 22nd place, and that's a bit far off from what we'd expect from a driver of Corey McFarlane's talent. Certainly, he'll be hoping that he can get a lap together and net himself some more positions here. It's looking like a nice clean lap, though, from the 94 machine. Car squats forward, lunges forward as it jams on the brakes. Checkered flag is now out for Group 2. And if you are currently on a lap, you will be able to finish it. Corey McFarlane, of course, being one of them. Sticks nice and tight through the exit. Use a little bit of the AstroTurf on the way through. Well, it's not really AstroTurf, it's painted concrete as he goes into the final corner. Just catches the curb there. You don't want to use too much of it. Now, is this going to be a good improvement for McFarlane? 45.089. Unfortunately, that's 0.3 off his current fastest pace. Gibbs, though, third place in qualifying. He's been on a fantastic run of form these last few rounds. He'll be hoping to continue that trend. 43.4 to beat, and it's a 43.107. He is going to split the Altus duo at the top of the field. The DBM X Beyond Blue machine now on the front row. Gibbs will certainly be celebrating that one.
Yeah, absolutely. So really does have to try and get it together here for the two races coming up. Good idea as well here for to practice those pit entries. I don't believe, though, that we're going to be running on any fuel strategy, are we, Reece?
Yeah, well, race 2, definitely. So if you're going to get your practice pit entry in, do it now, because you're not going to have much of an opportunity in between races 1 and 2. There is a 5-minute warm-up, but really you only get 1, maybe 2 opportunities to practice pit entry in that, as Cameron Dance sets a 43.5 on his way to trying to improve. That is a 7th place start then for Cameron Dance. Last couple of drivers now making their way towards the end, but it's a hard cut to the end of the session because we are racing in the heat format. And that means we can go through the grid now for the first race of the night at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. It's Bo Albert and Robbie Gibbs on the front row with Sam Blacklock and Matt Bowler 3rd and 4th. Hayden Sell putting in a fantastic time in the first group. He is going to start on the Pro-Am pole position alongside Reese Cohen in 6th overall. Cameron Dance starts 7th alongside Zach Kerr, 2nd in Pro-Am. Simon Mazzomo and Rob Carmichael share row 5. It's Aaron Shields and Lachlan Capel who round out the top 12.
There we go. On row 7 there, Robert Crisdale, Tyson Broad, Dylan Shepherd there, Cole Booth. Just slipping out in front of there of his teammate of Nicholas Garrett there in row 9, next to Joshua Van Treat. Go to the next page. To Adrian Vlock, Ryan Jones we saw there a little bit earlier on, Grant Matterford, Corey McFarlane, David Leslie there, and Dan Stevens rounding out our row 12.
Jabin Wood is going to start alongside Isaac Edwards on the 13th row, and the final 2 spots on the grid will be taken up by Matthew Kidd and Joshua Maynard in car 161. So, now we get ready, and Dan Yeaman and Tom Wilkinson there, they are in race control here at Aussie Online Gaming. They will pilot the McLaren 570S GT4 safety car if there is a big enough incident out on track. And it's a very long run to turn 1 here at Barcelona. So if you don't get your initial start right, then you are going to be suffering all the way to turn 1. Reminder of the 20-minute length here for race 1. We can expect it to be about 11, maybe 12 laps here as the drivers get ready. The timer hits 0 and the revs will rise. It is Bo Albert and Robert Gibbs on the front row. Who is going to win the battle off the line? Green flag flies and we are racing. It's a good start for Albert. Gibbs unfortunately bogging down and getting left behind along with Sam Blacklock. Having to check up a little there is Reese Cohen. He's going to go 3 wide there with Gibbs and Blacklock on the way into turn 1. Matthew Bowler though moving into 2nd. Will he be outbraked? No. He's able to sweep across the front of the rest of the field as they make their way into turn 1 for the first time. Some 3 wide action through the midfield. Looks like everyone has managed to get through the first few turns cleanly though. That is good as Blacklock runs a little bit wide there. He's lost another position, another 2 places as Gibbs and Dance then make their way by him. Gibbs protecting from Cameron Dance coming into turn 3.
Yeah, Gibbs there running a really shallow line there. Everyone elbows out there trying to just get a bit of track space here. Thankfully Barcelona's nice and wide there, so it's not too many places where we'll go single file. Except for this chicane, though, as they come down. So they're all just shuffling themselves out there. Hard on the brakes. Oh, you could just see car 16. I forgot what his name was there, but you could see just how tight it gets there running too wide.
Yeah, it's Aaron Shields there who was involved in all of that. Now Ryan Jones is right in the midst of all of this as well. Shields is trying his best here to keep Dylan Shepherd and Rob Carmichael behind him. Big defensive line there from the number 16. Shepherd is going to try sweeping around the outside of the hairpin, turns towards the inside of the corner, and Shields is going to hold on to it here with a bit of a straighter exit, but Shepherd will try and dive up the inside here as well in the 3rd last corner. Bit of understeer there for Dylan Shepherd, but he does manage to get the move done. Now we'll flick our attention to what's going on in the rest of the midfield here towards the back even, as Nicholas Garriott has had some big problems. Looks like he picked up a slowdown in the middle of the penultimate corner.
Yeah, so just hearing over the race radio there, Sam Blacklock there with the meatball flag, so we'll see him coming to the pits. You just see how much damage there is on that Altus car. We are looking further through the field there. I think that is Gibbs. He's definitely been in the thick of it at the moment, so he's slotted all the way down. I think he's in about 4th place at the moment, so we are going to cut to a replay and work out exactly what has happened there, Reese.
Yeah, so this started when Blacklock ran wide on the way into the hairpin and Zach Kerr got alongside him. Doesn't look like there was contact, and Blacklock, I think he was trying to get back on. Oh, is that a hardware failure? Looked like his wheel just locked all the way to the left there. You can see that the front tires are turned as far to the left as they can go. I think Blacklock's wheel maybe had a bit of a spike on him, and unfortunately Zach Kerr, an innocent victim in all of that, this resulted in Sam Blacklock getting the meatball flag with some very heavy damage. As it looks like Kerr has just had some trouble of his own there. Unfortunately he got a bit crossed up over the yellow sausage curb. That unsettled his car, as we're going to check out something that's gone wrong here for Dylan Shepherd on the replay. What on earth has happened here to Shepherd? Oh, getting a bump there from the number 16 of Aaron Shields on the way into the hairpin. So lap 1 was pretty clean, all things considered, but now the elbows are really getting out as we have yet another replay. We're on board with the Vector car of Zach Kerr, and you'll see that he gets the rear crossed up. And Nick, these Porsches with the engine all the way over the rear axle, once you lose the rear, it acts like a pendulum.
Yeah, and just with such stiff suspension, I suppose these really are a genuine Grand Touring race car. You just see how quickly they can get unstuck there. Not very forgiving at all, and you can just tell as well, everyone running so close together. Both those last two incidents were caused by more or less a concertina effect. I suppose when I think you're running within a tenth of the driver in front, accidents like that do tend to happen.
Tell you what, the battle for the lead is certainly on here. I thought that Albert would try to skip away from everyone, but Matthew Bowler has been able to stay in the draft and run some very competitive times. Robert Gibbs holds on to the fastest lap of the race so far. 43.571 versus 649 for Albert, and a 722. Just confirming there on the replay on the right-hand side, does look like a hardware failure for Sam Blacklock. That's a real shame, because as a sim racer, that is the worst thing to possibly happen. It's the one thing you always want to avoid. Reese Cohen and Cameron Dance, though, fighting over 4th place, and it looks like Dance definitely looking for a way forward here. Of course, Texans Fitstyle Motorsports is no more. They are now Orbit Motorsports, and they do keep a lot of the same sponsors there, but a bit of a change up to the livery of those cars. And Dance looking to get some nice racing on the board in his first race in that brand new livery. Orbit Motorsports not quite able to get up the inside of Reese Cohen on the way into turn 1. The draft not quite strong enough, maybe slightly messed up the exit of the final corner, but we know how much of a racer Cam is. He'll be trying to sort that one out, as there's a penalty for the 740 of Adrian Vlock we're hearing. That's going to be a visit to the pits there for him, and not too sure what the incident was that triggered that penalty, but race control obviously having a bit to sort out already, Nick.
Yeah, absolutely. You can tell just a lot of these incidents are not so much from people trying to put in opportunistic moves or running hard up alongside. I think it's just from everyone running so close. We're not really, well, geez, there was a lot of smoke on that corner. I think that was Gibbs has just come off slightly off screen there. So he's very, very wise there. It's one thing to, that is such a tight rejoin. It's probably on the fence, probably allowable, but it's one thing that even myself working in race control is you've really got to be so careful with your rejoins.
Yeah, you do. Unfortunately for Gibbs, it looks like he caught the curb on the way into that chicane. Actually ran a bit too far over the curb and onto the grass, and that spun him out on the entry. See it on the right-hand side of the screen on replay. Yeah, just gets onto the grass, and the rear end goes, no thank you, I'm not having any of that. So Gibbs does get back going, but he's all the way down in 17th place now, just in between Grant Matterford and Nicholas Garriich. trying to make their way around the final couple of corners. There's also a penalty that's come in for Aaron Shields meanwhile, and I would guess that that is for the contact with Dylan Shepherd on lap 2 at the hairpin. So getting that penalty served and back out as the battle continues for Rhys Cohen and Cameron Dance, and it's now for the last spot on the podium.
Yeah, absolutely. So great work there by Cameron Dance. He, as we mentioned before, no longer at Fitstar Motorsport, but is just so strong. Whatever he turns his hand to, he can tell just how much he's all over the back of that car there in front. Surely he can line up. One really great thing about Barcelona is plenty of overtaking opportunities. We actually just got a bit of a report there from race control. I think it was just confirming what you just mentioned there, Reese.
Well, the battling is going on here. Robert Gibbs fighting his way back forward, getting past Javin Wood. I don't think Grant Matterford will be too happy. No, sorry. I don't think Javin Wood will be too happy because Gibbs going up the inside of the hairpin, there wasn't any contact, but it did look like Wood had to go quite wide there as Gibbs was very deep into the hairpin, but no contact made, so probably nothing race control will be able to do about that. But I guess it's no secret that Robert Gibbs is trying his best to work his way back to the front of the field as quickly as possible. 14th place as things stand, and there's 11 minutes and 10 seconds to go on the timer. We're just going up to half race distance.
Yeah, absolutely. So a fast one is a good one. I do love these sprint races. They're well and truly underway there. You can see, I was actually just having a bit of a look there at the timing screen to Albert. You just see he's starting to really edge away. He's almost outside of that, you could say, that buffer really is about 0.8 of a second. Once he gets past that, very hard there for Bowler to hang in on that draft there. So Bowler doing an excellent job though. You see Dan still all over the back there at Cohen. You can see just trying to edge that little bit further wide. Or runs it really tight, so you can see maybe Cohen there just feeling that pressure there, Reese.
Maybe just a little bit, but it looks like Dance is content to just sit behind him here in the middle sector of the circuit. Barcelona is known as a very tough track to pass on as we check out two battles at once for 3rd and for 8th. Rob Christow holding off Rob Carmichael on the bottom of your screen. The middle sector of this circuit is definitely a follow-the-leader affair in most types of racing car, and really the prime overtaking opportunity is the end of the main straight into turn 1. You can maybe go for a move into turn 4 if you're brave enough, but Dance now right on the bumper here. Oh, and a little bit of a technical issue there for the Kiwi as he tries to round up Rhys Cohen here. Got to get the exit of the final corner right though. A little bit of an earlier turn in for Cameron Dance. It might have compromised him slightly. We'll have to wait and see towards the end of the straight. The draft is now active here for Cam Dance, and have a look at the speed that it gives him. Fantastic stuff there. Cameron Dance now making the move for 3rd up the inside at the first corner, and Rhys Cohen doesn't fight it that much. Dance does go a little deep though into the first couple of corners and allows Cohen a chance to fight back, but parks it on the apex in the middle of turn 3. Not much that Rhys Cohen can do from here on out unless he has prime confidence in the braking ability of his machine, but does look like that is the move done.
Yeah, great work there by Cameron Dance. Absolutely such a demon under brakes, so has lined up that position really great. We normally see here at Barcelona, if there's overtaking, they're usually side by side for about 3 or 4 corners there, but you see Cohen there just yielding into line there. Ryan Jones doing an excellent job. So I think he started around that 20th position. So he's all the way up into 13th. He's just tipped away there at the moment. He's sitting there on the back. Oh, Robbie Gibbs in the same
spot. Oh, Robert. Oh, that's such a shame. He was doing such a good job of catching up to the likes of Ryan Jones. But now, Javin Wood and Nicholas Gariich, these guys fighting over 2nd place in the AM category. A little bit later on the brakes there is Wood, but Garriott has the inside. Won't be able to take the full width of the circuit, though. Tries to get the move done back here on Jab and Wood. Side by side, Garriott's a little bit braver on the brakes, trying to hold the outside around the last couple corners. We've got Dylan Shepherd there alongside as well, just behind them. And wow, excellent move done there for Nicholas Garriott. Some supreme driving around the outside of a corner that's very difficult to do that at.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can just see, even though that we're about only 4 laps to go there, it has really heated up. Oh, you just see Gibbs doing it almost picture perfect to what had happened last time. So he'd be absolutely kicking himself. It has pushed him all the way down. I think somewhere around 20th position. Oh, you can see the overlap there. Great work there by Wood to back out of it. Very wise there. You don't want to be going tagging the that inside corner. But yeah, these 4 are really starting to get the elbows of that race.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, looks like there's been a problem for Hayden Sell as well, who did such a good job in qualifying as this battle continues here. Garriott putting on a fantastic defense versus... Oh, contact between Jab and Wood and Dylan Shepherd. Well held there by Wood, I have to say. But that is something that I think he won't be too happy with. Interlocking wheels there coming out of the hairpin. Shepherd has moved to the front of that pack. And, oh man, that means that Nicholas Garriott is going to be given a little bit of extra breathing room now. How much damage is there to Dylan Shepherd's car? He's already carrying quite a bit of damage from an earlier incident. Not too sure what the deal is there, but move done there on Grant Matterford as we check out what happened to Hayden Sell. This is down at the turn 5 hairpin. Just got his wheels beyond the curb, and it's a serrated curb there on the entry. You get onto the drainage area, and that means that the rear of the car is going to flip around. So that was a bunch of positions lost there for Hayden Sell. He's now outside the top 10. Corey McFarlane, meanwhile, has made a move on Rob Crisdale for 7th place. We were looking at the battle for 8th earlier. Looks like McFarlane really involved himself there with Crisdale, Carmichael and Broad, and so the 94 has now moved up into P7. We do take a look, though, at this battle between Cohen and Dance. It's still ongoing. Meanwhile, Kyle Booth and it's Ryan Jones too. Jones getting up the inside at the penultimate corner and manages to keep it ahead of him. Good stuff there. A nicely clean move done as Cohen tries to get 3rd back from Cameron Dance. This has been one of the battles of the race if you're talking about 2-driver battles. Pretty much every other battle has had at least 3 cars involved, but these two going at it pretty much all race. And it seems like Cameron Dance, he's not quite been able to get a gap on Cohen here. He's not been able to get away, Nick, and he did make a little mistake there in the left-hander.
Yeah, absolutely. So it has actually bunched these 2 together. They'll be surely looking down there at their lap counter, knowing that they've only got a few more to go. So it's actually now it has put Cam in the position from being the attacker now into a bit of a defense mode. And you can actually see these 2, that car in behind getting a really great run there. Actually, potentially he's actually going to get that draft, so we'll see whether or not he's going to pull out. Actually not close enough, and gee, we've got cars, I think that's 2 or 3 cars there. We'll have to cut to a replay there. Matt Kidd and Joshua Van Treek there, so not too sure what has happened there. We did see that Chris racing car there facing the opposite way.
Looks to me like it was a case of completely missing the braking point for Joshua Van Treek. That's what caused all of that. Van Treek was already instructed to redress contact. I think hearing a remark from our director in the background, I think he just saw the incident I'm talking about here. Have a look at this. Van Treek just completely misses his braking point, and poor Matthew Kidd, there is nothing he can do about that. Van Treek gets back onto the circuit, and the wheels were already locked up. He was just going straight on. So I don't know what Kidd could have done to avoid that.
Yeah, absolute passenger and all that. So yeah, we'll be on board here with Isaac Edwards, but we'll see. Yeah, you can just see no grip whatsoever, and Isaac also giving him, unfortunately, a bit of a clout there. He was already well committed to the corner, so there wasn't really much could have done to get out of the way of that. So, unfortunate for all those 3 cars who do have 3 laps to go, though, Reese.
Yeah, that you do. I've seen an incident for David Leslie on the exit of turn 4, bit of oversteer and collecting the concrete wall, as it is now 2 to go for our race leaders. And Reese Cohen still trying to find his way back past Cameron Dance, but Cam crucially has gotten a little bit of a gap over Cohen now, and Cohen hasn't quite been able to make the draft work down the start-finish stretch. This is the closest battle in the top 7 at the moment. And Dance maybe running a little wide there out of turn 3. Allows Reese Cohen half a chance to get back by, but sticking close to the inside there as we check out the incident for David Leslie. Gets on the curb, rear end just breaks free, and it looks like a real lazy spin here for David. It's very unfortunate, but
yeah, sorry, the racer collected the wall so heavily, would have definitely felt that.
Yeah, and he's got a meatball flag as well, if you're unfamiliar with that particular part of racing terminology. Black flag with an orange dot in the center. It's otherwise known as a mechanical black flag. You have to come into the pits to repair damages. That's a problem for Rob Carmichael, falling outside the top 10 now. Carmichael was battling for 8th last time we checked in on him, so I have to wonder what went wrong for him there. He was behind Rob Crisdown. It looks to me like he did the same thing that Robbie Gibbs did, just caught the grass on the entry into the chicane. But here we are then. The timer is under a minute, and the final lap has begun for Bo Albert and Matthew Bowler, as Reese Cohen has one last chance here to try and get 3rd place back from Cameron Dance. What a fight this has been between these two. They've been so close, pressuring each other all race, but they've managed to keep it clean, which is really good to see. Cohen not quite getting the draft that he needs coming into turn 1. That's the best opportunity to pass around the lap, pretty much gone now, but he will have one more chance at the heavy braking zone into the left-hand hairpin, not only at turn 5, but down towards the final sector as well. Not quite close enough to Dance to get it done this time around, but firing it towards the inside of the corner. Try and get as straight an exit as possible. Use as much as the car can afford to give you. He has a slight little look on the way into the hairpin, but it doesn't quite work out for him. Takes a lot of curb on the way through as well. Looks like a post-race drive-through for Joshua Van Treek for the contact that we caught earlier, and that's going to be some time added on to his race. Dance, he didn't quite turn in early for the chicane, but it's worked out for him regardless. He gets a little bit of an extra gap there over Reese Cohen, who clobbers the curb on the way through at the top of the hill. That's cost him some valuable time, and he's not quite close enough to make a move into this hairpin either. So I think from here on out, it looks like Cameron Dance might have just secured 3rd place, but we will flick our attention forward to the 06 of Bo Albert. Not quite getting the support from his teammate Sam Blacklock here, thanks to Blacklock's unfortunate mechanical black flag, but Albert leading all the way. Fended off a charge from Matthew Bowler early on, and will take the first win of the night here at Barcelona. Adds a few more points to his tally and extends his championship lead.
Yeah, I'd have to say there, amazing drive there by Matt Bowler there to really maintain that gap. That'll be a really good burst of confidence. I would have to say just Bo Albert's really is a world-class act there, so to be able to really maintain that. And then when you average it out, only a second splitting between the two over those many laps, really not that much in it between them.
No surprise to see that Nicholas Garriich takes the AM-class victory. Once again, Kyle Booth finishes in 2nd, so it's another 1-2 for Garriich Booth Motorsports, as Blacklock now tries to get one final position here over Joshua Maynard on the way to the line. He does indeed, so it's going to be a 21st place finish there for Sam Blacklock. Unfortunately, you won't be able to profit from the reverse grid because it's only the top 10 positions that are inverted for race 2. But Hayden Sell coming home in 10th place. That means that he will start on pole position for race 2. And I think that'll be a very good turnaround from the unfortunate spin that he had earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. So, seeing, yeah, what it always seems to be at these sprint races is where we have such problems with attrition. Maybe we usually see maybe a little bit more conservative driving when it comes to the endurance rounds. So, very spectacular though.
Indeed it was. So, we can expect a 35-minute race 2 coming up for you very shortly. Before we head on break, we'll go through the results here. Albert takes the win by over a second over Matthew Bowler. Cameron Dance completes the podium, and Cohen in 4th. Lachlan Capel wins the Pro-Am class. It was an excellent drive, up from 12th to 5th overall for Mr. Capel. Simon Mazzomo finishes in 2nd place. That'll help him in his fight with Tyson Broad, who comes home behind Corey McFarlane and Rob Crisdale. Hayden Sell rounds out the top 10.
Yeah, absolutely. There we've got Ryan Jones, great drive there up until 11th place, so he kept his nose nice and clean. Rob Carmichael as well. Robbie Gibbs there having that spectacular spin twice in that same corner there has put him all the way down in the 13th, so he's going to have a pretty tough time in our feature race. Dylan Shepherd, Nicholas Garage there, just ahead of his teammate Kyle Booth there in 17th. Grant Matterford, Jarvin Wood, Aaron Shields there, Dan Stevens. So I think Dan's still just trying to come to grips with the car there at the moment, but we'll sure as he progresses, we'll get a lot quicker.
Blacklock started 3rd, but ultimately 21st after a mechanical black flag for a hardware failure early on. Josh Maynard comes home behind him. Zach Kerr, Adrian Vlock, Matt Kidd, Isaac Edwards and David Leslie down to 27th place, and last, unfortunately, Joshua Van Treek getting that post-race drive-through for missing the braking point and hitting Matt Kidd off the circuit. So, got a few minutes here to catch our breath in the Aussie Online Gaming Porsche Cup presented by Sam Blacklock Media. Stay with us here on SimSpeed TV. We've got race 2 coming up next.
This is your chance to get behind the wheel. The opportunity to race just like the pros. From the grassroots levels, where we all got our start, to the most popular race cars on the planet. From the fairgrounds of Nashville to the high banks of Daytona, to tracks that will never be forgotten. Realistic driving, intense competition, all from the comfort of your own home. This is the ultimate motorsports simulation. This is iRacing.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now. He's got traction. He's going in the outside. Both of them. Maloney.
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh
him.
my God. Oh, big crash. Oh my goodness. Half the field's going to get rolled.
Second very close. These guys I want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no, that's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?
You're watching the Aussie Online Gaming Porsche Cup here on SimSpeed TV. Reese Gardner and Nick Skaryev with you in the commentary box. Round 11 of Season 6. Already showing itself to be a pretty fantastic round in terms of racing and in terms of drama. Here at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, we're going to have a quick replay of something that happened between Kyle Booth and Ryan Jones. Looks like Booth overrunning it a little bit at the first corner, and then through turn 3, a massive spin. That's what ended up costing him an awful lot of time for Kyle Booth. Now, Nick, this is something that we're going to have to think about in the second race. It is much longer than the first one. We got an extra 15 minutes worth of driving to deal with. Once the tyres start going off, we're going to be seeing drivers really struggling to keep control of their rear end.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've just seen, even when the guys are racing up so close against one another, kind of coming from all angles, conserve the tyres and conserve your track space. So we are going to cut to our starting grid.
We are indeed. Starting on pole is going to be Hayden Sell with Tyson Broad alongside him. Rob Crisdale and Corey McFarlane on row 2. Simon Mazzomo and Lachlan Capel are 5th and 6th. Starting out of 7th is going to be Reese Cohen, who just missed out on 3rd in the previous race. Cameron Dance is going to start in 8th with Matthew Bowler and Bo Albert rounding out the top 10. Albert will want to make it 2 from 2 tonight in terms of wins. Ryan Jones and Rob Carmichael will start 11th and 12th.
Yeah, absolutely. There, Robbie Gibbs there, so looking to improve there on his row 7 start. So we'll expect to see him push his way up through the field there next to Dylan Shepherd. Great run there by Shepherd so far. Nicholas Garrett there, Grant Matterford, Kyle Booth and Jarvin Wood there on row 9.
19th place is going to be Aaron Shields, who unfortunately got a penalty in the previous race. Daniel Stevens will round out the top 20. There's Sam Blacklock and Josh Maynard on row 11 with Zach Kerr and Adrian Vlock, 23rd and 24th. Final 4 spots on the grid, Matt Kidd, Isaac Edwards, David Leslie and Joshua Van Treek. As we said before race 1, Dan Yeaman and Tom Wilkinson are there in the pits. They're officiating the race, and if there's a big enough incident out on track, they will bring the McLaren 570S GT4 safety car out onto the circuit. So, only 30 seconds to go here before the timer runs out and we get another start. Now, the start-finish area is largely in shade here, so there's not going to be much chance of a huge amount of heat going into the tyres right away. However, we did see that the start was defined by many drivers getting poor launches off the line, and that will hurt them all the way towards turn 1. So who is going to get the best start here? Hayden Sell, who was the early pace setter in qualifying, is going to start on pole position. Tyson Broad alongside him, and that's Broad's chance here to try and overcome Simon Mazzomo for the Pro-Am Championship lead. The revs rise. Oh, maybe a little bit of a jump start there for Crisdale. The green flag flies, and we are away. Not the best of starts for Hayden Sell. It's a black flag for Crisdale and a pile-up on the start-finish straight. Oh, the field trying to move to avoid it. Doesn't look like many cars were involved, but it's really gone into a big problem for the back of the field as, oh my lord, the 897 trying his best to get back onto the circuit. That's a big spin there. This is a chaotic start. I don't know what to look at. There's cars everywhere, Nick. Help me.
I think talking about help there, surely we might be getting a safety car here, but still green there at the moment, so the yellow flag has not been thrown. Who has been the big winner in all this? We've just seen Sam Blacklock off the circuit again. We've just seen, I think that was Aaron Shields there off as well. Just trying to keep it on the black stuff just seems to be a challenge. Easier said than done there, Reece. And we are seeing the safety car come out.
That was really bad, that start, actually. Our pole sitter, Hayden Sell, unfortunately getting turned by Corey McFarlane, who moved sideways into him on the way into turn 1. That's the 897 there, Hayden Sell. That's the car we saw going right across the inside of the first turn. So we've got a lot to unpack here from the race start. Began with a potential jump start for Rob Crisdale. but you'll see here as McFarlane tries his best, there's already big contact there in the top 10. Fortunately, most of them managing to avoid it, but then they end up concertinaing into their own incident at the back. There's the contact on the right side between McFarlane and Sell ends up going head-on into the tyre bundles as many drivers spin on the way into turns 1, 2, and 3. And it looked like an early give-up there for Sam Blacklock as well. So, ultimately, Reese Cohen is the one to come out on top here. He is currently in the lead, and as things stand, it looks like we've already seen Matthew Bowler, Cameron Dance, Javin Wood, Tyson Broad, and Hayden Sell on their way into the pits. A couple of those guys definitely would have been taking damage, and it looks like Aaron Shields and Matthew Kidd are there as well. Sam Blacklock is back out on circuit. And I have to wait. We'll have to check another replay here of what happened to Hayden Sell. You see McFarlane move into him, and it was so lucky there not to get cleaned up, but ultimately the leader into turn 1 spinning as well. Here's what happened to Blacklock, caught 3 wide here alongside Kyle Booth, and was there contact here? Oh yeah, looks like a car spinning up ahead of them, and Blacklock, well, wasn't much he could do to avoid it.
Yeah, absolute sitting duck there, and you can tell that Century Batteries car there shifting all the way over to the left, so yeah, no matter how far left you would go, the Sam Blacklock there getting caught out, so we are on board here with the safety car. Does almost throw the fuel and tyre strategy out a little bit there, Reese.
Yeah, it does. I think it's still a bit too early for the drivers to come in for a fuel pit stop. I'm not too sure. A 15-litre refuel is what Race Control have estimated based on a fuel usage of 2.8 litres per lap. But yeah, I think it only being lap 2, it's too early to get all of your fuel done in the pit stop, unfortunately.
Yeah, absolutely. So just trying to see who's the big winner in all this. We've seen, I think Robbie Gibbs is quite the way up the order now, so it's actually paid off there for that Drop Bear Motorsport car there. I think the sole Drop Bear car, if I'm not mistaken, so having a battle there out there all on his own. But he was outside of that invert. I think he was started around about 14th place, so he's absolutely rocketed through the field.
Here's Rob Crisdale. See him creep forward on the starting grid, and he's just come in now to serve the drive-through penalty that iRacing would have given him for that. Very unfortunate there for Rob, but obviously there's a few things to work out there. He got a good view of the incident between Sell and McFarlane. Have a look at that. Through goes Reese Cohen, and well, then a clean track.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was really almost like the seas parting ways.
Safety car in this lap, so we will get back to racing action on the next lap. Here, though, I get the feeling it's not going to be able to go full race distance. It's scheduled for 21 laps, but there is a 35-minute time limit. And with safety car laps taking about 2 minutes and 20 seconds, I think we're going to lose at least 1 lap from the race length here.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm sure that we'll see so much action, even though that will be a bit more of a condensed race crammed into it. So hopefully, maybe now that they've just been putting a few more loops in around on the track, it's just going to give them a little bit more confidence in their tyres and maybe calm the nerves down a bit, and we can see a little bit more clean racing is what we've been accustomed to here at AOG.
Indeed. Well, safety car already pulling away from the rest of the field. Dan Yeaman is going to bring it into the pits momentarily, and then Reese Cohen will assume control of the field. Question is, when does he decide to go? He can likely put the power down out of the final corner and get a good run on the rest of the field. Going a little bit before the final corner might be advisable as well to try and get the jump on your rivals. Robert Gibbs looking for some redemption here tonight, but it's on the way into the final corner that Reese Cohen puts the power down, and we will go back to racing action in the AOG Porsche Cup. Brilliant stream of cars there. Already looks like Robbie Gibbs is getting a good run here on Reese Cohen, and Cohen's going to go defensive on the way into turn 1. Is this going to be the move for the lead? Well defended by Cohen on the way into turn 1. Gibbs trying his best to hold the outside. A little bit of room given there by Reese Cohen, but the move is not made, and Bo Albert's going to try and work his way a bit further up as well. Let's have a look at Rob Carmichael. That is a big oversteer moment there for Rob. He's trying to hold off Simon Mazzomo and Dylan Shepard behind him. Mazzomo going to the inside now of Rob Carmichael on the way into turn 4. A little bit of oversteer there for him as well. Move unsuccessful. Dylan Shepard now is going to try and work his way through the inside. Bo Albert, meanwhile, he's trying his best on Lachlan Capel, who is the only driver to have not gained or lost position so far. Well, that isn't true anymore. Capel loses a position on where he started to Bo Albert. As, oh goodness, Mazzomo and Shepard side by side through the chicane. Hello. That's resulted in a compromised exit for both of them, and Albert almost fancied a look up the inside of Shepard there.
Yeah, it actually does look like Albert getting that momentum there coming out of that right-hander. That's actually set himself up, so he's going to be up on the inside coming through that long... Oh, I don't know how much wider Shepard could have gone there. He'd almost be in the grass, so he's lost another position there, but does have one of the drop bear cars behind him there. I think that is our Joshua Van Treek and Daniel Stevens. I was almost said our Western Australian friend there. I think Daniel Stevens is from New Zealand.
I'm your West Australian friend.
Yeah, that as well. But Daniel Stevens there is starting to get a bit more of a handle on the car though at the moment, running it wide. Matthew Bowler there on his rear bar.
Indeed. Well, Bowler is going to try and get up the inside here at turn 1. And it looks like a good position for him to be in as he goes up the inside, moves forward on the way into the corner, and he's just about clear. Manages to get it done. Nicely done indeed for Matthew Bowler. And he'll try his best to move up a little bit further. He's down in 16th here after being involved in the dramas of lap 1. But now field just needs to try their best to get into some kind of rhythm.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, as we just saw, what was a purple car? I do think that was Daniel Stevens again there. Oh, actually, no, I think that was Cameron Dance there running all the way into the grass, so, but thankfully keeping it pointing nice and straight there. You could just see Gibbs on the back of Cohen there, so Robert Gibbs, though, surely feeling confident. Just buying his time here at the moment. We still have about 25 minutes on the clock, so no need to pull any risky movies there.
Well, Albert's now up to 4th, and he's chasing down Rob Carmichael. Has just made the move on Simon Mazzomo. Albert's really motoring towards the front of the field here. We check out the number 73 of Zach Kerr, who's having a much better race than he did in race 1. He's chasing down Ryan Jones for 9th place. Jones hasn't gained that many positions on where he started, but it was all about race 1 for him. Managed to take advantage of other people's mistakes, did Ryan, and move his way up into 11th place as Kerr almost loses it on the exit of the final corner. Jones is going to be a sitting duck in the slipstream here, and he's going to allow Kerr up the inside as it's another big defense from Reese Cohen on Robert Gibbs. And I tell you what, these two fighting like they are, going to give a big advantage to Carmichael and Albert as Kerr manages to make the move on Ryan Jones into the first couple corners. Jones tries to fight back, though, with a slightly wider entry into turn 3. We're on board there with Bo Albert. He's now caught right up to the back of Rob Carmichael, and you can see the pace difference here.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to actually, just on that shot before there, great work there by Zach Kerr. He's kept his nose clean, hasn't been involved in too much of the action here on the broadcast, but has done an amazing job of picking his way through at the moment there. We're just seeing that car 94 go a little bit wide as well, so might have spoken slightly too early.
We're hearing that Daniel Stevens has picked up a mechanical black flag. Obviously some very damaged cars out there, and once again we hear a noise in the background from our director Jay Kennedy that confirms it's probably a very visceral incident as Corey McFarlane makes the move on Lachlan Capel, moves up into 7th place. So we'll go to this replay and we'll watch Isaac Edwards here in the number 15 car. Now, it was a spin. So close to cleaning up Joshua Van Treek, but Daniel Stevens got massively involved in that when Edwards spun around. So that is the meatball for Daniel Stevens, and no wonder Isaac's got a meatball as well. No wonder. Have a look at the front end of that MFR Porsche. It's like the front end's missing as there's a move for the lead. It looks like Robbie Gibbs has made his way past Reese Cohen into turn 1. It was very close. He got squeezed a little bit on the inside of the approach to turn 1, but the 888 is now in P1, and now the aim for Gibbs is to try and get some clean air, get some good laps in, try and extend the gap to Bo Albert because he knows that he's the guy they're really racing. And there is the move for Robert Gibbs. Just enough room left on the inside by Reese Cohen.
Yeah, absolutely. Such a great aggressive move there by Gibbs. No side contact at all, but you're exactly right. You'd have to say there, Robbie Gibbs maybe running out of time there. You could see Bo Albert chipping away at those two at the front, so trying to get around is definitely a good idea to put Cohen in between the two. Talking about in between, we're getting all kinds of action here. Through the midsection, I think we just saw the garage booth cars there, 1 and 2, so these two have been at each other the whole time there. Nicholas Garage, though, with the advantage there, so he's in 12th, Kyle Booth in 13th. And I think that is Cameron Dance in there, 14th place. So you'd have to say Cam would be closing on these two pretty quick.
Yeah, I don't think that Garriott and Booth have that much to worry about, though. They are fighting with Dance for overall position, but not for class position. Garriott and Booth still running very well in the AM class, almost a 1-2 there for Garriott Booth Motorsports, and drivers are really having big appointments with the gravel trap here at the exit of the final corner. Dylan Shepherd and Corey McFarlane. Oh my lord.
That was almost a tank slapper that went for the whole straight, but what a save.
What a save indeed, and Corey McFarlane goes, thank you very much, I'll just recover and go on by. Coming up to 20 minutes to go in race 2. Majority of the field still has yet to come in for their required pit stop for fuel. We have a replay meanwhile on the right hand side of your screen. Dylan Shepherd snapping back to the left, trying to recover. McFarlane, he thinks, okay, I better start moving to the right. Shepherd loses a bit of grip and whoa, so close to there being major contact between those two, and I think that McFarlane in turn very lucky not to get too much onto the grass, and I'm quite amazed, Nick. You did mention the tank slapper. I'm amazed he managed to hold on to that, but Shepherd's not done with him here, is he?
Actually, not only held that giant tank slapper, but also managed to, I don't even think he lifted at all, which is probably not such a bad idea in these Porsches. Actually did manage to get that overtake done there at the end of the track, so I'm sure he'd be mighty pleased with himself.
Here's the on board. They were so close, weren't they? Whoa. Love it.
Yeah, no, that absolutely excellent there, and still didn't lose too much actual momentum from that as well. So you could see they were both a little bit held up there, which actually helped that drop bear car in behind. So yeah, Shepherd again is off. It's actually given a bit more of an advantage. He's also going to lose him a position as well.
Almost to Lachlan Capel, but Capel's going to have to stay behind for now. Shepherd compromising his exit from turn 2 a little bit, but he gets it back on the way into turn 3. Oh, you see just I don't know if that's the angle of the camera or what, but almost looks like there's a slight bit of oversteer for him there on the way into turn 3. And he's going to have to be wary of that coming up to the second half of the race, because the amount of long flowing turns here at Catalunya, you lose the rear end in a Porsche and you are certainly going to go round. Top three have compressed meanwhile. Gibbs, Cohen, and Albert only separated by 3.5 tenths of a second. Actually, sorry, more like 9 tenths of a second. Those gaps were between individual cars, not overall. It's about 6 tenths that these cars have between them. And we're going to go to a replay here on the right-hand side as we check out this lead battle. Grant Matterford. Oh, he lost the rear end on the way into turn 4, and that's a hefty spin. Oh, actually ended up cleaning up a couple drivers as well. Tyson Broad, one of them. That's a big shame. Broad was definitely hoping for a good finish here because, remember, he's been battling all season with Simon Mazzomo for the Pro-Am Championship lead. Oh, Robbie Gibbs, don't get too far into the gravel, mate. We want to keep this battle nice and clean. We want to keep this race going to the end. Bo Albert starting a bit further back in the field and getting involved in a couple of the bimps and bumps on lap 1. Does seem to me like all three of these drivers stand a chance of winning this race, Nick, but they got to try and keep it clean. That's the one thing they got to get out of the way first.
Yeah, absolutely. You just see that these two at the front. So we did see Cohen and Albert match their pace-wise as well. And you can see we've seen Bo Albert in positions like this before. We'll just absolutely breeze past them, but definitely buying his time here, and you can actually see that they are stretching out a little bit as they come out of some of the corners there, so probably showing a little bit of discipline there and not losing his cool. He'll know that he's still got, you'd have to say roughly about 8 laps or so on the clock, so doesn't really have to pull any risky moves. Knows that Robbie Gibbs isn't pulling away. We're actually on. You could just see that was that incident before with Joshua Van Trigg.
Oh, he went into the back of Tyson Broad.
Yeah, unfortunately, getting a meatball out of that, so not the way he wanted his night finishing.
Certainly not. Well, this fight continues at the front of the field. Lovely compressed battle for the podium here. These are your top 3 positions overall in the race in frame at the moment. And Reese Cohen has done a very good job holding on to second place. Yes, he did get passed by Robert Gibbs, but he's been managed to stay well behind Gibbs, well within the draft, and he's been able to keep Bo Albert behind him as well. Albert, as you mentioned, Nick, probably just biding his time for the time being. Might be waiting for the pit stop to really make the move. You can see as well that Albert clearly has the most visual damage out of these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Probably also can just roll out of the throttle a little bit, especially coming into some of these longer corners. So just trying to, might be able to see him get a bit more of a faster pit stop out of these two, but you're right there, that does have a little bit of damage there to that front bar, which will definitely add just that little bit of drag. You can see those two cars out in front not carrying anywhere near as much damage.
Well, we have a little bit of an update from Sam Blacklock. He did have his hardware failure in race 1, and he did end up getting involved in the lap 1 shenanigans here in race 2. Did continue for a time, but he has dropped from the server, and we're hearing that it is a major hardware failure for him. Pretty much all of his equipment has died on him, so that's really disappointing to hear. We do hope that Blacklock will be able to sort those issues and come back as Corey McFarlane here tries to make his way past Simon Mazzomo for 5th. Oi, oi, oi. Getting so close to contact there. Is it an over-under from McFarlane? Get at the inside of the penultimate corner? Not quite. It's only a very short run here, but definitely seems that McFarlane is turning up the aggression here.
Yeah, absolutely. I will give... just see how hard that they're running it onto that curb, but you can just see really seems to be the prime overtaking spot here coming down the straight. We'll just see who's going to be hardest on the brakes there. Simon Zomo, though, stuck on the outside. If you can actually stay in behind, you can actually hold on a little bit, but he's actually fallen right off that pace there. It's almost about a second or at least half a second, maybe 8 tenths or so. So not too sure what's happened there. He might have actually locked his brakes up there. We've got, I think that is Corey Shepherd there in the car 43. So He's all over him as well. Dylan Shepherd, sorry.
We got so many Shepherds here on iRacing. There was a time when we had plenty of Reeses as well. One of them, of course, being Mr. Cohen, and he almost made a move on Robbie Gibbs at turn 1 earlier this lap. It was defended, though, by Gibbs, not quite able to get his way past. Bo Albert not making much of an impression on these guys as they battle. It does seem like Cohen has managed to find a little bit more pace here in the mid-phase of the race. 13 minutes to go now as the clock ticks down. When do these guys decide to come into the pits? It looks like Corey McFarlane has been given a black flag for contact on lap 1. Yes, indeed. Yeah, exactly that. That was the issue that he had with Hayden Sell that we caught on the way into turn 1. That's what I imagine that's about. And I think fair enough too, because there was space for McFarlane to make his way in. It looks like Bo Albert has gone for a pit stop meanwhile. Looks like he might be going potentially for a little undercut on these guys. Of course, tyres probably not really an issue in these cars. You'd probably cost yourself a lot of time bolting new fresh rubber on, but getting yourself out of the battle, potentially getting yourself into some clear air, that could work out well for Albert. Not only that, but he'll have the opportunity to get a little bit of damage repair done as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe he thought that damage was holding him up, because you would think they're just sitting in that third place was to just hang it out as long as he could. So, sorry, very curious to see what Albert's pit stop time is going to be. Great seeing all the action around the track there at the moment, not only at the front, but gee, it's really heading up through this midfield as well. So it really is going to come down to when we'll see cars into the pits. We're almost, well, sorry, we are past the halfway point, but as we saw a little bit earlier on, we've extended there with that safety car, 4.7 second stop there for Albert. So I don't think, unless if there's a quick repair, I don't think he'll be getting any damage done in that time.
No, probably not, no. Oh, it looks like he did use a quick repair. Each driver gets one fast repair in this series, and on that note, everyone who pitted under the safety car took their fast repair, except for Robert Crisdale, who is up in 17th position at the moment. That's still a far cry from where he was, as Reese Cohen and Robert Gibbs change position, because Robert Gibbs is making his way into the pits. It looks like a personal best in this... Oh, sorry, not a personal best. Fastest car on track, Reese Cohen, 144.6 there. As, oh, this is looking spicy. It's Dylan Shepherd in the midst of all of this, with Simon Mazzomo now up in front of him. Shepherd making the move on Rob Carmichael and Matthew Bowler. And these guys are now fighting for second on track at the moment. Remember, they still have yet to come in for their stops, though. Matthew Bowler, he pitted 12 laps ago under the safety car, and was a 4.2 second stop. So I don't know, man. I get the feeling that people who pitted under the safety car might be able to make it to the end from here, potentially.
Yeah, it is going to be a little bit of a stretch here if they can kind of bunch in behind other cars and use a bit of that draft there to save that throttle position, not having to absolutely plant it coming out of the corners. It might be able to save enough fuel to get them there at the end, though. Great work there. Very great work there by Simon Zomo, maintaining that second position there at the moment. Surely if he can bring it home somewhere around about then, that'll be his series best. Do have Dylan Shepherd, though, right on the back of him, about 5/10 by the looks of it.
This is crucial, though, in the battle for the lead. Bo Albert has come out ahead of Robert Gibbs, and that is partially due to Robert Gibbs having a stop a second slower than Bo Albert, and it's about a second that separate them now as Mazomo and Shepard make their way into the lane, and it looks like Shepard had to almost take a bit of avoiding action there. It looks like he's just firing his way towards his pit box, though. They're very close to each other in the pit lane are Mazomo and Shepard, but we'll ride on board here with Rob Crisdale, who will definitely gain a couple more positions here. Crisdale, with a 38.3 second stop, he saved his quick repair for any other potential incidents that might happen later on in the race. And you can see how much he's lifting. Oh my goodness, I've just caught an incredible incident for Kyle Booth. And Jay, hint hint, we're going to have to get a replay of this one because Bo Albert almost got wiped out.
Yeah, absolutely. I just kind of caught it off there in the foreground on our live.
So Kyle Booth still stopped here. It might be another safety car. We're going to have another look at what happened to him. Booth overshooting the first corner. Now, if you're familiar with the circuit, you'll know that there's yellow speed bumps in the runoff area, and Booth hits one of them, and the rear end of the car is just sent flying. You see Bo Albert trying to make his way through here, and there is contact, but I think Bo Albert got incredibly lucky there.
Yeah. Jeez, it was
Oh,
almost could have finished his race there, especially another car rolling off in front of him, but it doesn't look like that yellow flag is coming out. I think race control are going to let him head off to the pits.
he's already gone back to the pits. We'll get a view on board here from Albert. Booth running wide and then boop, up into the air. Albert's like, oh God, what do I do? Just keep to his line and escapes with his life. As we check out Cameron Dance and Lachlan Capel here, battling over 5th place. Cameron Dance is no stranger to battles for the top 5 as we check out Nicholas Garriott, Kyle Booth's teammate, coming into the lane. Of course, main reason a safety car was not brought out for Kyle Booth is AOG likes to avoid bringing out safety cars for single car incidents that end up with the cars being off track anyway. It's only usually for very big pile-ups or cars on the racing surface stricken that the safety car is brought out. Mazomo versus Shepard, meanwhile, both of these drivers having just made their pit stops, a lap and a bit ago. Shepard up 2 positions. Mazomo down 8, and now with only 4 drivers left to take their pit stops, being Reese Cohen, Rob Carmichael, Zach Kerr, and Lachlan Cable. This is about where they can expect to finish. So now Mazomo losing a bit of ground here to Dylan Shepard as he tries to line up Aaron Shields for a maneuver to get into 11th place. It's amazing to see how much bouncing there is over that sausage curb and just how much of a difference there is in the approach to that right-hander as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, geez, those anti-cut curbs can really have you unstuck there. Oh, geez, that was such a deep move there. So he's just going to have to hold on if they can stick side by side. It's always these sweeping curbs, so you really don't want to be stuck on the outside like that.
Yeah, and it looks like Shepard yielding the position there to Aaron Shields for the time being, but Shields is going to go into the lane because he has exceeded the incident limit. It's an incident limit of 20 per race in the AOG Porsche Cup, and obviously Shields has exceeded that. Of course, now Shepard is open to an attack from Mazomo once again as they move into the top 10 each. Looked like Zach Kerr going for a pit stop as well. Shepard does stay ahead of Mazomo for the time being. So that leaves only 3 cars now. The cars in 1st, 3rd, and 5th. Cohen, Carmichael, and Capel.
Yeah, absolutely. There we're just seeing Matt Bowler and Rob Carmichael. So Rob's still not in the pits area, so he's managed to hold it out all the way, but it looks to be working out again for Cameron Dance. So seeing quite a mix of between the cars there that haven't pitted. So they're leaving their runs so late, Reese.
We might have another couple of drivers potentially facing trouble with the incident limit. Cameron Dance currently sits on 14 incidents. Joshua Van Treek sitting on 15 incidents. So they're going to have to minimize off tracks from here on out. There's under 4 minutes to go. And in comes Reese Cohen to make his stop. Matthew Bowler is going to move into the lead of the race here with that early pit stop under safety car. Was still not quite sure whether or not he can make it, but the more time goes by, the more likely it's looking. Bowler, car number 12, moving into P1, but look at how much he is lifting on the way into the first couple of corners. Oh, is he? No, he's not. He's not lifting. So it looks like he might be fine for fuel. We'll have to wait and see, though. Cohen is going to come out in 7th place behind Bo Albert and Robert Gibbs. In fact, a long way behind.
Yeah, so it's definitely not going to be able to catch up on those two, but this train in behind her, though, are catching up super close there. Oh, that was just so deep under brakes, so very lucky not to take, thankfully maintaining a bit of a gap there to Simon Mazzomo out in front, so Mazzomo's just got to really hold on for these next couple of laps.
It's actually Hayden Sell that's at the front of this fight. Sell there, having to make way for Shepherd. There's now 3 cars in between, or 2, sorry, between Shepherd and Mazzomo here. And Mazzomo will certainly be trying his best here to make his way past Rob Crisdale. Oh, goodness. This battle for 8th, it does seem like 8th. There's definitely the position to look for here tonight. There was a great battle for 8th in race 1. There's another great battle for 8th in race 2. Hayden Sell now will have to try and find a way to keep Rob Crisdale behind him. Last position in the top 10 is Rob Crisdale at the moment. Does see the gap, and Sell is going to make way for him and try and widen the entry here as much as possible. Mazzomo almost getting into the back of Mr. Crisdale. Oh, there's been a crash at pit entry. Matthew Bowler! Oh my goodness! What on earth has gone on here? Oh, that is huge! Dance is in as well. Cameron Dance comes in for a second stop. Robert Gibbs, no, isn't in. Reese Cohen, no, Reese Cohen's not in. Looks like Cameron Dance and Rob Carmichael, the main cars that are in there. But man, Matthew Bowler, what on earth? We're going to have to queue up a replay for that one, Nick. This is potentially race-changing, night-changing as Simon Mazzomo outbrakes Rob Crisdale on the way into the last couple of corners. So, Matthew Bowler, we didn't know whether or not he was going to make it. It looks like he did have to come in for a second stop, but he gets stuck in the pit wall on entry and then gets absolutely cleaned up by the 124.
It's usually don't see so much action like this at the end of the race, but everyone has gone every which way, so giving the I would have thought maybe race control were going to have a bit of an early night tonight, but they're going to be, I think, working hard till quite late there. Lachlan Capel, though, currently sitting in that first position, though, has not gone into the pits, so big lock-up, thankfully keeping off the grass, so not too sure. Surely it'll be the last lap. It will not go checkered flag this time around.
Yeah, I don't think so. So, let's see then. Coming into the final couple of corners, Capel and Albert close for the lead here. Got a car in front of them, Joshua Maynard, and 2-1-0. And that is going to be crossing the line for them. And it is going to be 1 lap to go here. Man, I'm amazed that Capel has been able to make that tank last as long as he has. And this is turning into quite the intense battle. Will Bo Albert be able to make his way past Capel and take 2 from 2 here tonight at Catalunya? Or will Lachlan Capel prove an absolute wonder of a drive without pitting, managing to save a ton of fuel under safety car and not pushing the tank too hard in race conditions? Albert then taking a little bit of a wider line on the way into turn 4, straighten up the exit. It's not going to work out for him coming into the hairpin though. Capel runs a little bit wide, but Albert is not quite able to take advantage. Capel gets on the throttle very nicely. They're going to be bumper to bumper on the way into this chicane. Albert's still not not able to find his way past here. Bounces off the curb on the way up the hill. Looks like Reese Cohen has passed Robert Gibbs for third, meanwhile, behind these two. But now, this is Albert's probable last chance here unless Capel runs out of fuel. Lachlan is going to go defensive on the way into the hairpin. Can Albert get it done here around the outside? Has to pick up the throttle nice and early, but Capel manages to move ahead of him on the way into the third last corner. Albert trying his best to keep the pace up. He's got to get on the power. He's not got to... Oh, he got a bit loose over the curb. Oh, there's a bit of contact here between these two. They're going to be side by side on the way into the final corner. Albert manages to move past Lachlan Capel, but spins. Oh, a little bit of a slide and sends Capel off into the gravel trap. So Bo Albert is going to cross the line in first place there. Goodness gracious me, what a finish that was. And Robert Gibbs is going to come home in fourth place there behind Reese Cohen. Dylan Shepherd makes it into the top 5. Wow.
Yeah, Albert just showing his experience off there. I think we might have had a car go off in the sand trap there. Saw a lot of smoke coming into that double right-hander though, but it's not really too much of a run there. It's actually a really short run to that start-finish though that we have seen Matterford come over there. He's done a great work defending. He'll be glad to see that checkered flag as well, especially with so much of the action that happened here tonight.
Yeah, God, so much action indeed. Grant Matterford holds off Aaron Shields for 13th place. And Daniel Stevens, David Leslie, and Joshua Van Treek are going to be the last drivers to see the checkered flag here. An absolute race of attrition here at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia, but it is the double for Bo Albert, and just by a hair there on the final lap of race 2. We'll go through our results. Albert takes the Pro win. Lachlan Capel takes the Pro Am win. Reese Cohen and Robbie Gibbs 3rd and 4th on track. Dylan Shepherd 5th. Cameron Dance puts the number 6 into 6th. Simon Mazzomo, Rob Carmichael and Ryan Jones 7th, 8th and 9th. And Nicholas Garriott takes yet another Am Class victory to round out the overall top 10.
Yeah, great work there by Nicholas Garriott there, being our leading M car again. Corey McFarlane, Robert Crisdale, Grant Matterford there. We did see just come over the line there. Aaron Shields. Dan Stevens working his way up there from the back of the grid. So great work there by Dan Stevens. David Leslie, Joshua Van Treek, Isaac Edwards, and then from our lap cars coming on for Hayden Snell and Adrian Vlock.
So out of 21st place is Joshua Maynard. Javin Wood coming home a lap down, and Zach Kerr unfortunately 2 laps down. Matthew Bowler had to come in for a late pit stop, and man, that is a real shame for Bowler. Could have been on for top 10, but collected the pit wall on the way into the pits, and then we get into retirement territory. Kyle Booth, Tyson Broad, Matt Kidd, and Sam Blacklock rounding out your field. Oh boy. All right. Now, we'll have to turn our attention to driver interviews. It does look like Lachlan Capel has jumped into the interview box, and we have him in here with us now. Lachlan, congratulations on a very good night for you. Only driver in race 2 to make it without a single pit stop. How close were you on fuel?
I coughed the line. I had 0.2 at the line. I had to, I wasn't sure whether or not I was allowed to do it, but I just assumed it was going to be like that. I haven't... I'm going over the rules right now just to double check, but it doesn't say anything about it. So I knew I had a good shot when I saw Bo catching me slowly, and I thought I could have slowed down a little bit just before the second fast lap, as everyone had that little bit of crash onto pit lane, and I could have got away with that being a white flag, but I was able to battle Bo anyway. He gave me a little bit of a bump on the exit, but it was all hard and good racing, so I appreciate racing Bo, because yeah, he's a very pro and I'm in Pro-Am, but managed to save fuel. I was clutching everywhere, yeah, and I'm pretty happy that it paid off and I was able to get a good result.
Yeah, indeed, and not just in race 2, but in race 1 as well, you managed to get a top 5 starting from 12th. Certainly a very successful night. Seems that Catalonia is kind to you.
I didn't really do much practice. I had an internet outage 15 minutes before quali, or the entire practice session. So, I did a little bit of practice beforehand, but yeah, it seemed to be nice. I built a pretty decent setup of the Sebring VRS set. Managed to run at 5 wing, which was just a little bit less than 4, but more than 4, which aided me a little bit more in the corners and the straights. But yeah, it was. Other than that, it was a good night.
Next time we race at Alton Park International without Britain's chicane, that's going to be an interesting one, isn't it? Because it's a very narrow track, very fast one. If you thought Barcelona was hard to pass on, well, Alton Park's even more difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't have necessarily the best luck at Alton Park. I've never really finished well around there, and I've never driven a Porsche Cup around there because I decided to get into the league to get better at this car because it's one of my lacking statements is I'm more of a GT3 or LMP2 driver, so getting used to these cars is very helpful for throttle control.
That it is. Well, before we let you go, Lachlan, anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, just like to thank all the guys over at Drop Bear Motorsport and all their sponsors of Ensoki Engineering, Sam Blacklock Media, Hybrid Racing Solutions, and Revolution Race Gear. And a big shout out to Dan and that for picking me up, as this was probably my first interview being on Drop Bear Motorsport. So glad to be on the team and glad to get some good results for it.
All right, congratulations once again to Lachlan Capel, who comes away with the Pro-Am win in Race 2. I think before we chat to Bo Albert, we'll get Nick to have a chat to Nick. It is Skariev talking to Garriage.
Yeah, congratulations there, Nicholas Garrett. Saw so many battles there with your teammate of Kyle Booth. Take us through it.
Yeah, it was good. It's probably the closest we've been out on track together. So, yeah, it was good. He sort of gifted me the win in the first race, and I was able to keep him at bay in the second before he had a little bit of a incident. But yeah, it was good battles all night tonight.
It's great seeing you've had such a consistent result all season, well and truly up the order for the AM class. So potentially, what might even say that could be a chance of a promotion up into the Pro-Am class?
That'd be cool. Oh yeah, because I'm mixing it with them guys now, and they race pretty hard. So yeah, that'll be very exciting if that happens. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have to say, all the work, I'm sure that a lot of practice has been put in here at Barcelona. I'm just trying to remember where we are in a fortnight's time at Alton Park there, so I'm sure that you start working on your strategy towards that next in the coming fortnight.
Yeah, I've actually never turned a lap there in a car, and yeah, this week's going to be a bit of a struggle too, cause with lots of stuff coming up this week with racing go-karts, so probably won't be able to get too much track time, but yeah, we'll just have to make do with what we can do.
Yeah, absolutely. No, well, it definitely goes to show how much raw talent you've got there. So congratulations again there, Nicholas Garrett, and I'm sure that we'll be speaking to you in a fortnight's time.
I can only hope so.
I'll take it back to Reese.
Indeed. Well, congratulations once again to Nicholas Garriage, definitely the class driver of the AM class this season. We'll have a chat to our double winner here tonight overall, Bo Albert, and another extension to your championship lead, Bo. Certainly had to work for it in both races.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that. That was a very tough round. Obviously got a great lap in qualifying, managed to get pole, but that was pretty much the only part of my night that I actually went like properly smooth sailing. The rest of it had to work for it. Race 1, fortunately, I was able to sort of control the margin to Matthew Bowler a little bit. So as long as I didn't make any mistakes, I knew it was okay. But that second race, boy oh boy, I mean, we were shunting about 100 meters into the start of the race, so to end up provisionally as race winner is pretty cool.
Certainly is. Well, overall, how did you expect the racing to go here at Barcelona? Because I did mention when talking to Lachlan that Barcelona is a pretty hard track to pass on, particularly in the middle sector.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually wasn't expecting much good racing tonight, in all honesty. So I'm happy to say that I was
obviously wrong about that one. Because yeah, it's a lot of long corners, and I think in a car with a lot of downforce, you can get some really nice racing here in particular, if you can avoid the dirty air effect and everything. But in a Porsche Cup car, it's just extremely hard to get a run on somebody, and there's limited places to do it because every corner just sort of flows into the next, and realistically, there's maybe 2 big braking zones in the entire lap. So I wasn't expecting too much, but fortunately the racing we did get was a lot of fun. I saw in the midfield there was a lot of passing as well, so it looks like overall it was a pretty good night for that. But yeah, it's definitely proved me wrong.
Well, next round, of course, is at Alton Park. How do you think you're going to go there? Because I think getting on pole would probably be your main goal, because having to work your way through a field at Alton Park, very much easier said than done.
Oh, absolutely, and it's a very easy track to make a mistake as well. So if you can get yourself in clean air, perfect vision, that would make life a lot easier. But personally, I think it's one of the greatest tracks, massively underrated. I'm a bit of a sucker for the sort of like more club, national level British tracks like Alton Park, Snetterton, all very cool. So I'm very excited for it. I'm looking forward to it. I do wish we had the chicanes, but nonetheless, there should be some fun racing.
Certainly should be. Who do you have to thank, Bo, before we let you go?
Massive shout out to the guys at Altus Esports, Logitech G, Virtual Racing School, Racetech Gaming, Cube Controls, and the rest of our partners. And also a big shout out as well to Lockie Capel for the battle in the last lap there. That was awesome fun. However the stewards look at it, I'm not too sure, but regardless, we both spoke about it then, and it was a good racing. So good night of racing overall.
All right, Bo Albert, double winner here tonight. And the final driver interview is going to be a fantastic run for Reese Cohen. Nick's going to have a chat to him about that.
Yeah, Reese, so impressive there with your pace here all night. You'd have to say to be right at the pointy end the whole night there. Take us through it.
I was pretty good. I got some like weapon starts both times. Got like four spots each start. And then once it kind of settles down, it was just about like managing it, I guess. It's pretty hard to pass, so as long as you can come out of that last corner, okay, you're kind of half decent. And then we're all like in a line. Everyone was pitting. So I thought, I'll just do a couple laps by myself, try and get some free air, but that didn't really work. Got kind of lucky with someone running out of fuel on the last lap, but that was about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd have to say so much carnage, what we've seen over there, really caught us by surprise. Is that something that you were prepared for, seeing so much of the action that we saw tonight?
I was kind of glad that most of it was happening in my mirrors, and it wasn't really happening around me. But no, it was good. Even like towards the end then, I was like kind of driving around by myself, watching the relative of the top two going backwards and forwards. I was like, oh, just got to make it to the end.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do believe that we are going to be at Alton Park next week. Have you got any plans or preparations? Already starting to think forward to how you're going to attack it maybe a little bit differently?
Yeah, probably cut a bit more laps compared to this one.
Maybe not as much practice as what you were hoping for.
Nah, but it was fun anyway. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, congratulations again, Reese. It was a pretty hard night, I would have to say, across the board there. Any people or sponsors you'd like to thank?
Just BPR and the series organisers.
All right, well, congratulations again, Reese Cohen, and I will take you back to Reese for our final words.
Indeed. Well, what a brilliant night of racing it was. But of course, we do go to Alton Park in 2 weeks' time. You can catch it on the 5th of July at 8 p.m. Eastern. Certainly going to be a fun one there in virtual Cheshire. Thanks very much, everyone, for tuning in. And we certainly hope that you enjoyed the show that was put on tonight. A reminder of where we're going to be going for the rest of this season. We are definitely into the second half of the year now for the AOG Porsche Cup. Red Bull Ring, Donington Park and Zolder to finish off the European leg, and then we go to Phillip Island, Motegi, Winton, Oran Park and Sandown to finish off the season. It's going to be a fun one. We hope you can join us for every single round of the Aussie Online Gaming Porsche Cup, presented by Sam Blacklock Media. I'm Reese Gardner. It was Nick Scarriev alongside me with Jay Kennedy behind the scenes on production. From all of us here at SimSpeed TV, we will say goodbye for now.
fantastic. This is GT racing right now. He's got traction, he's got really outside of both of them. Maloney! Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up to him. Oh my God! Big crash. Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled.
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, here we go. Oh no! That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?